So, college oral communication. We're ready to start Chapter 3, right? So let's look at Chapter 3, and we'll find out that the title of this chapter is called Themes of Geography. Why don't you get your mirror? Because when you get your mirror, you can compare your pronunciation with mine, right? You can look at your own mouth, your teeth, your lips, and your tongue. And then you can try to pronounce the words clearly as I do, okay? So let's look at the beginning of Chapter 3. What is it called? Themes of Geography. Themes of Geography. Let's talk about geography. Now, the academic focus of this chapter is social science. Social science. Academic focus. The academic focus of this chapter is social science. And within social science, the topic is geography. 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 Geography, the study of the earth, of land, okay? And we see a picture. It's a map. And this map shows what country? The United States of America. The United States of America. The United States of America. And for short, the USA. The USA. The USA. Or even shorter, the U.S. The U.S. Now, notice that there are 48 states that are stuck together. We call those the contiguous United States. And we have a couple of states that are not next to it. One of them is Alaska. Alaska is in a box. And that means that it's not really located here. It's really located up here, sort of where the blue spot is, in a place next to Canada. So it's not attached. It's not next to any of the other states. And then there is another box that shows some Hawaiian Islands. Hawaiian Islands or Hawaii. And that would be way out here in the South Pacific. Far away, so we can't print it in our book. It would have to be way out here. That's why it's printed in a box to show us that's the shape, but it's not in its normal location related to the rest of the U.S. You also see some mountain ranges on the map too, right? Okay, let's study our academic listening and speaking objectives. What kind of objectives? Let me hear you say those objectives again. How do you say it? Academic, listening, and speaking objectives. Okay, in this chapter, you will develop your skills as an academic listener and speaker in the discipline of geography, in the discipline, in the field, in the study of geography. You will hear a short lecture that an instructor gives at the beginning of a physical geography course. Now you will learn to pronounce academic vocabulary and practice discussing topics related to physical geography. You will participate in listening, speaking, and thinking activities. In particular, you will develop vocabulary and expressions to discuss geography. You'll also use a dictionary to learn the pronunciation of new words. Now, the dictionary that you use, you can use any dictionary you want, but I'll be using this one, which is the American Heritage English as a Second Language Dictionary. The ESL dictionary is easier for learners to understand. And we'll be using, when I show you the symbols, I'll use the symbols that come from that dictionary. You'll also learn to recognize transition phrases that identify important points. Because as you know, a lecturer may talk about a lot of different things, but some are more important than others, and oftentimes the lecturer may use a phrase or a word that helps you know that this part is important, and you should take notes on it, and you should remember that. Also, what else? Understand the relationship of main ideas and examples. So often we will give a main idea and then give one or more examples of that to help you understand the main idea. We'll have you hear, locate, and pronounce cities in the United States. Now, not all of the cities, right? But some of the major cities in the United States, the major cities which you will hear and you will recognize if you practice this. And when you pronounce them, other people will understand you a lot better if you learn the pronunciation and the syllables and stress. We'll talk about information on a map. What kinds of things can we see on different types of maps? Now we're going to talk about questions and learn intonation. Last chapter we learned about yes-no question intonation, it's rising, and we learned about WH question, which is rise falling. In this chapter we'll study choice questions and learn to pronounce them with proper intonation. For example, would you like coffee or tea? So we have rising and then falling. You'll ask and answer questions using the directions. You will know about the directions, right? East and west, north and south. Oh, can you pronounce that? Look at your tongue and compare it to mine. East, west, north, south. Okay, now we want to ask questions using how far and how long. Remember last chapter we learned how much and how many? So this one is about geography, so we'll learn about how far something is located and how long does it take to get there. We'll discuss the geography of your local area. So the area that we live in and we go to college in, and some of the cities that, well, we know around here. We'll learn where they are in relation to each other and how to pronounce some of those names. We'll take dictation of sentences that are related to geography. So it'll help you with your listening and writing, your spelling, your punctuation, all of those good things. Are you ready to study themes of geography? I hope so. I hope you'll study the chapter with me.